Okay, hi. This is Tim Turner. I'm from Torrid Technologies, and with me today is Terry Elder. He's a certified financial planner and educator. He's also president of Texas First Wealth Management in Houston, which is a registered investment advisor firm. And first of all, I wanted to congratulate each and every one of you for being here today. And I want to also urge you to get out a pen and paper to take some notes, because we're going to give you a lot of valuable information. So to begin with, if you don't mind, could you type yes into the chat box if you want to know how to get the maximum benefits from Social Security? That's one of the major topics we're covering today. If you could put yes into the chat box, I'd appreciate it. Okay, I'm getting a lot of yeses. Marilyn, David, Michael, Pam, etc. Great, thank you. Okay, if you want to know how to integrate your current savings and investments with Social Security so you can get the most from your money in retirement, then also put in yes into the chat box if that has an interest for you. We're just trying to gauge what people are interested in. Okay, a lot of yeses. Okay, great. Great, yes, maximize income, great. All right, so I have Terry Elder here. Terry, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Tim.
Yeah, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got into financial planning?
Sure, thanks, Tim. I haven't always been in financial planning, but as you can probably tell by my accent, I'm not originally from Texas. I grew up in a little town that had to be on hee-haw at least once. It's called Turnip Hole, Pennsylvania. That's up north of Pittsburgh. And when I was a kid, one of our favorite activities was sitting on the back porch watching our neighbor's pigs. But eventually, I eventually got into college at the University of Pittsburgh, and I taught for several years. And then, like a lot of teachers, I was always working part-time. You know, teachers are overpaid and underworked, right, Tim?
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
So anyway, I was always making extra money on the side. And one summer, someone came to me, and they sat down with me, and they said, Terry, do you have life insurance? And I said, I sure do. And they said, well, let me take a look at it. And what I found out, I was paying maybe 5 or 10 times too much for the life insurance I had, and I could get a lot more from the same money I was putting down. And that really interested me. So I actually started working part-time, showing people the same thing that person showed me. And I really got a lot of interest in financial services. And so I actually started working with people, showing them how to save their money. One thing led to the other. And finally, in 1992, I decided to quit teaching and go into financial services. And then in 1998, I actually became a certified financial planner. And I'd say over the past 20 years, I've saved people thousands of dollars and showed them how to maximize their money and minimize mistakes and make their lives better.
Well, great. Thanks for telling us that, Terry. What I wanted to ask you, though, is why are we doing a webinar on Social Security?
Well, I found that most people are getting ready to retire, have very little knowledge on how Social Security works, and often they just file for benefits not knowing what they might be doing, and often they make a mistake that will cost them even tens of thousands of dollars over their lifetime. And that's why I'm offering everyone who attends this webinar tonight a complimentary consultation with me in my office. I'll show them how to maximize Social Security benefits over their lifetime and how to integrate Social Security with their other investments. Now, I usually charge $250 or more to do this, but for all the attendees on the webinar tonight, they will be able to get this at absolutely no charge to them. But enough about me, Tim. Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure, Terry. I'm basically CEO of a software company called Torrid Technologies. And for the last 20 years, I've been designing financial planning and retirement planning software. And that's kind of how Terry and I met. He uses our Retirement View planning software. And I'm just very interested in this topic on Social Security because it's very intriguing to me. So Terry, you want to talk about the potential benefits for everyone on this call?
Yes, if people on this call have been working in a job covered by Social Security, there's a very good chance that you can increase your lifetime benefits by tens of thousands of dollars. We'll also show you how to save thousands of your own dollars by using Social Security dollars. Because every dollar you use for Social Security means one less you got to use out of your own money. And also, there's potentially tax saving strategies available where you can actually save thousands of dollars in taxes by using Social Security the right way.
Great. A lot of people are concerned about the Social Security Trust Fund, and will Social Security be around for us when we retire?
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors going around that Social Security is broke. Well, far from it. Here are the facts. Every year, the Social Security Administration publishes a report on the health of Social Security. And as of today, Social Security is fully funded through 2033. And even if the Congress does nothing, which they're good at right now, if the Congress does nothing, there's going to be 75 cents on the dollar thereafter. For most of us who are close to retirement now, I think that's the least of our worries about Social Security going broke.
Okay, great. Well, let me talk about Social Security being the foundation for retirement planning. I know a lot about this because I've designed different calculators related to Social Security as well as retirement. And most of you already know this, that Social Security can play such a major role in your household income during retirement. The SSA says that 64.8% on average of people's household income in retirement, which is pretty significant. As Terry already mentioned, Social Security allows you to retain more of your own money. So for every dollar you get in benefits means less money of your own that you're going to have to spend for your retirement income, which means you can save it for later on. Now, this third point is one of the most important with this webinar, that when you file, and also how you file for Social Security, may be one of the most important decisions you ever make with respect to your retirement, because the difference between the best and the worst Social Security election can be $30,000, $50,000, or even $100,000 or more in your total lifetime benefits. So let's talk about the Smiths. Terry, you want to talk about your sample?
Yeah, we're going to be using a Smith as our sample couple here. You can see Mary, she's 56, John, 60. And you'll notice they've got PIA under each of them. That's Social Security speak for primary insurance amount. And what that means, that's the amount they project you will get monthly from Social Security if you file at your full retirement age, which we'll be talking about in a moment. So the Smiths came into us, or a couple of identical Smiths, and they wanted to know how it would affect them depending on when they filed. So we run all their information through our software, which runs all of this, and we found out the difference between them filing at their earliest age, which in this case was 62, and using the switch strategies, which we're going to talk about later, they could bring in as much as $170,000 more in Social Security benefits over their lifetime, assuming they have a normal life expectancy. So that's what we're really going to be talking about tonight, how people can increase their lifetime benefits by using the right strategy for them.
Okay, now a lot of people think they can just go down to their Social Security office and get help. Is that true, Terry?
Well, yes, they can, but not as about what we're talking about. The Social Security people are very, very helpful. In fact, I recommend anybody who files for Social Security actually go into the office, because there's far fewer mistakes when you do it right at the office. And when you do go into the office, they're not going to tell you how to file to get the best return. They're going to tell you what to do the day you walk in to get the best benefit right then. They never give you any kind of strategy as to how to file so that you can get more benefits over your lifetime. In fact, they're forbidden to do that.
Okay, let's keep things moving and a little bit interactive. I got a poll for everyone on here, if you don't mind answering it. It's just, what is your current employment status? Are you retired already? Will you retire in the next year? Will you retire within 3 years? Or are you just still working and you don't know when you'll retire? If you don't mind answering that. And then I'll share the results. Okay, a couple more seconds. Still have a few people that haven't answered. All right, last chance. Last chance. Okay, here's the results if you want to see that briefly. Okay, we have 40% retired already, and it looks like 40% will retire within the next 1 to 3 years, and 20% are still working. Okay, great. Full retirement age. How do we figure that out? Well, it's mainly based on your birth date. As you can see here, your full retirement age is age 66 if you're born between 1943 and 54, but it creeps up to 67 if you're born after 1960. Terry, you want to tell us about how filing early or late or right on time full retirement affects their benefits?
Sure. The earliest age you can file for Social Security is 62. However, if you file at 62, you don't get your normal or full benefit. You get 75% of it. But for every year you wait, you get a larger benefit. And if you click on the, yes, for every year you wait, you get a larger benefit. So that by the time you reach age 66, you get your full retirement benefit. Now, by the way, it's not by the year, it's by the month. If you filed at 62 in 1 month, and 62 at 2 months, you would actually get a larger amount at 62 in 2 months. But see, Social Security, Tim, gives you an even bigger incentive to delay, because for every year you wait beyond 66 through your age 70, they actually increase your Social Security benefit by 8% a year. That means between the 4 years between 66 and 70, your Social Security check will go up at least 32% plus inflation. Now, you see the red line from 70 on, they don't give you any more incentive after that, so there's no reason to wait beyond 70. As you can see, the difference between filing at 62 and 70 can make a huge difference to your monthly income.
One topic that comes up frequently is whether you can file related to your ex-spouse.
Yeah, people occasionally ask me that, and you can. And there's certain things you have to qualify for. First, you have to have been married to that ex at least 10 years, okay? Also, your own benefit has to be less than your former spouse's. Now, how do you find this out if you're divorced? Well, the Social Security Administration will do it for you. You just have to bring in proof that you were married. They'll look this up, and they'll say, marry, yes, you can file, or marry, you can't file, depending on that. Also, you can't be remarried when you file on your ex-spouse. And you got to be at least 62 when you do that. And also, divorced spouses actually have an advantage over married, because under most circumstances, you cannot file for spousal benefits unless your spouse is filed. Well, you can actually do that on an ex. If the ex hasn't filed, you can actually file and get spousal benefits, which is, I guess, one benefit of being divorced.
Okay, I got another poll question for you. This isn't rocket science, so don't be nervous. When it comes to saving for retirement, which of the following is most important to you? Is it safety of principal, potential for growth, potential for guaranteed lifetime income, or access to my money when I need it? If you wouldn't mind answering that poll, it just gives us a flavor for what you guys are doing out there and what you're thinking, just so we get an idea. Okay, we got about 75, 83%, almost done. All right, I'm getting ready to close it. Last chance. All right, so we got most people to answer it. If you want to see the results, 55% of you were real concerned about potential for guaranteed lifetime income, 27% safety of principal, and 9% each on potential for growth and access to your money. Interesting. Okay, let's move right along. Let's talk about strategies to maximize your lifetime benefit. That's the main reason everyone's on here, right, Terry?
You're right.
So let's talk about single people first.
Okay, if you're single, really it boils down to one question. How long do you think you're going to live? And as you can see on this chart here, the red line is somebody filing at 62, and then the brown line is somebody filing at full retirement age 66, and then that light blue line is somebody filing and waiting to age 70. If you live to your mid-70s, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference whether you file early, midterm, or late, because as you can see there, the lines cross in that area. So you probably get the same amount of money whether you file early, at full retirement age, or late. But as you notice, if you live into your 80s and into your 90s, there's a dramatic difference. And if, Tim, if you'll mark it on the screen there, you see the same person who filed at 62 at his age 90 or her age 90 would, in this case, bring in something like $700,000. The person who waited to full retirement age, if they lived to 90, they're going to bring in something like $900,000. And the person that lives to 90 and filed at 70, they're going to bring in over $1 million. So you can see it really has to do with how long do you think you're going to live. If you think you're going to live to your 70s, it really doesn't make a lot of difference. Let's take a look at how it affects married people.
Okay, married.
Yeah,
if you're married, I'll just say this real quick for Terry.
Sure.
If you're married, it's just more complicated.
Yeah, it's more complicated, Tim.
Yeah. So why is it more complicated, Terry?
Well, the reason is, since 1939, Social Security has really been a family plan. Before that, it was developed for individuals. So they've given a lot more options to married people because they realize families need the money more than a single person. At least that's their view. So let's take a look at some of the strategies that you can use as a married person. And the first one, this is available to everybody, singles and married. It's called your retired worker benefit. And that's your own benefit based on your own earnings history and when you decide to trigger benefits. The second benefit that's only available to a married couple is the spousal benefit. So once your husband or wife has filed for benefits and you've reached at least the age of 62, you can then begin receiving a reduced portion of his or her primary insurance amount. Now, mind you, this is an aside, if you do file for spousal benefits at 62, you're not going to get as much as you would at 66. The way it works is, if you wait to full retirement age to file for spousal benefits, you will get 50% of whatever your spouse is making, okay, or receiving. If you do it at 62, you get a smaller amount, like 35%. But you can file as early as 62 and get spousal benefits. And remember, your spouse has to file for his or her benefits first before you can do that. Let's look at the next benefit. It's called the survivorship benefit. It used to be called the widow's benefit because usually it was just the man who was working. So when one married person passes on, the surviving spouse is now eligible to receive the higher of the two monthly benefits. They can't take both. They got to choose one, and that's how the survivorship benefit works. Now, the next two benefits, if you have your paper and pencil handy, these are probably the most important things we're going to cover tonight. These are called switch strategies, and the reason they're called switch strategies is because you file for a small benefit early and then file later on for a larger benefit. And the first one's called voluntary suspension. Some of you may have heard of it called file and suspend. And when this happens is you go into the Social Security office, you file for your benefits, and you immediately suspend them. Well, why would you want to do that, Tim?
Well, mainly so your main benefit can grow longer. That's one reason.
Right.
And the second is so that your spouse can file and get spousal benefits.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Tim. So when you go in and you file, you've now made it possible for your spouse to file for spousal benefits. In the meantime, you don't bring any money in, but for each year you wait between 66 and 70, your Social Security check will go up by 8%. And mind you, in these last two switch strategies, you must do these at 66 or older, full retirement age or older, Social Security will not allow you to do these strategies before full retirement age. So let's look at the last strategy that you can use. It's called a restricted application. And it's kind of like a voluntary suspension, except you go into the Social Security office, and instead of filing for your own benefit, you file for your spouse's benefit. Now remember, Tim, what has to happen before you could do that?
Why don't you go ahead and tell us?
Okay. Your spouse has to file first. So if your spouse hasn't already filed for his or her benefits, you can go in and file a restricted application for your spousal benefits. Now, to make it even a little bit more complicated, let's say you go in and you file for a restricted application. You will get spousal benefits, but in the meantime, your spouse can do what you did. They can do a voluntary suspension. They won't bring in any money, but in the meantime, their Social Security benefit will rise each year by 8%. So as you can see, with all these different benefits and strategies, it can get very, very complicated.
Yeah, so there's a lot of calculations that you have to do to figure out which strategy is most effective.
Yeah,
and in fact, there's software that can do that, right, Terry?
Right. In fact, the software we have is developed by a man in Iowa named Joe Alsasser. He had a lot of clients coming to him, and they were so frustrated because they were trying to figure these things out. So we developed this software that specifically hones in on Social Security. And what we do is we take our clients' information, their Social Security reports, we put in what they expect their life expectancy will be, and this goes through over 20,000 calculations, and will show them the optimum strategy based on their working record and their life expectancy. It's really amazing.
Well, great.
By the way, Tim, the first person I did this on was myself and my wife, and I was simply amazed.
Awesome. So let's talk about when you run those calculations. I think we've mentioned this before.
Right. This is kind of a repeat what we talked about before. When you have the Social Security Maximization Report done, we will show you at each age what you're expected to receive in lifetime benefits so that you know kind of in advance what the results will be. Now, the best strategy often relates to using these switch strategies we've been talking about. But if you decide to do it maybe a little bit different than best strategy, we will run alternate strategies for you too. Not everybody wants to wait to 70. They'll say, Terry, what happens if I do it at 69? In fact, the Social Security software is so smart, I can't figure out ahead of time what it's going to say. Now, a lot of times it has to do with life expectancy, not only earnings. But it's a fabulous report, and people, every time I show this to somebody, they're simply amazed at how much money they can get by using these strategies.
Okay, let's do another poll question, if you don't mind. All right, let's see. How much have you saved for retirement? You can just click on there. It just gives us an idea of the range of, and I'm not going to call these out verbally, but if you want to enter that in, it just gives us an idea of what you guys have saved already for retirement. Let's see, we got about half the people voted. Okay, I'll do a few more seconds here. 83%. All right, last chance. If you want to answer it, last chance. Okay. Should I show the results of that one? It's just a pie chart. All right, I'll share it. Just you guys are probably curious. All right, there's the results. So it's right there. Okay, hide that. All right, let's move right along. Let's talk about protecting the survivor's benefit. You want to talk about that, Terry?
Yes. The death of a spouse during retirement can be a significant financial strain on the surviving spouse. And today, more than 70% of all elderly people in this country who live below the poverty level are women. The sad fact is more than half of those elderly widows now living in poverty were not poor before the death of their husbands. So part of planning and using Social Security is to make sure the surviving spouse has enough money. And that's why I always tell the men, and it's usually the men, they're usually older, the wife's usually younger, the man usually passes on first. If you're a man and you file early, say at 62, and you pass on later, that means you've locked your widow into a lower Social Security benefit for the rest of her life. So if you wait to 66, at least she's going to get what you would have got at full retirement age. And some people ask me too, Tim, what happens if he dies between 62 and 66 or he's never filed? Well, Social Security will automatically give the widow the full retirement benefit as if he had waited and filed to 66.
So it's better to wait.
Typically, if you can do it, yes, especially if you're the main breadwinner in your family and your wife, in most cases, your wife is dependent on your Social Security, it's better to wait, yes. So,
okay. You want to talk about our sample couple again, John and Mary?
Yeah, here's John and Mary, and as you can see here, they have a pension. They're retired now. They got a pension each. They both have Social Security, and in this case, you can see that John probably was at the workplace a lot longer, and they were also savers. Okay, they saved $150,000 in savings account. They had CDs worth over $200,000. They had some investments, and they also had life insurance death benefits. So the retirement income was $58,000, and they had assets of over $425,000. So we're going to take a look at what happens when John goes. In this case, John had a pension that stopped when he died. So Mary only had the $6,000 coming in. And remember, with the survivorship benefit, you have to choose one or the other. In this case, she loses her $7,790, and she gets to keep John's $30,000. So the family income, Mary's income, goes from $58,286 down to $36,000, which is a 38% cut. And even if you're the most frugal person, that's a large cut. In fact, the rule of thumb is surviving spouses typically need about 80% of what they had before the other spouse died. So, and part of my planning when I'm working with couples is to make sure they planned so that the surviving spouse is going to have enough money to last them the rest of their lives.
All right, let's talk about taxes if you want, managing the taxes and the impact of them on your Social Security, as well as whether you're working or not after you start getting benefits.
Right.
Actually, you want me to talk about this one?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, let's talk about the fact that the benefits used to not be taxed when Social Security first started, but then later Congress passed a bill to then tax it. So up to 85% of your benefit can be taxed. If you're under a certain threshold, then none of it's taxed. But if you fall in between these ranges, then 50% of that money is taxed. If you go above these ranges, and you can see them there on the screen, for single people, the top is $32,000, married filing jointly, $44,000. Any of your provisional income over that is taxed at the 85%. So provisional income, well, it's almost any income you have plus half of your Social Security. And my company's created little software programs to calculate these taxation algorithms, and that's part of the Retirement View program that we have. Let's talk about how work affects your Social Security benefit. According to a survey, 80% of baby boomers plan to work during retirement. That seems counterintuitive to the idea of retirement, but how is working going to affect your Social Security? Depending on your age, it's going to reduce your benefits dramatically. All right, so let's talk about how that's going to affect your benefits. Terry, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Prior to full retirement age, there's an earnings cap. There's a certain amount of money you could earn in a single year without affecting your benefit. And it changes every year depending on inflation. In 2014, if you filed prior to full retirement age, you could earn up to $15,480, and not a penny will be subtracted from your Social Security check. But once you start earning $2 over that cap. For every $2 you earn over it, they will reduce your Social Security check by $1. So if you make $1,000 over, okay, they're going to reduce your Social Security that year by $500. Now notice they have a special rule in the year you reach 66. In that year, you can earn up to $41,400 up to your 66th birthday, and they will not reduce your Social Security check at all. And as you can see on the screen there, instead of $1 being reduced for every $2, it's $1 for every $3 over that amount. So there's a special rule on your 66th birthday. So, but the month you hit 66, from that point on, you can earn as much as you want a year. You can earn $1 million a year, and they won't reduce your Social Security. Now, I want to throw one thing in there a lot of people don't know about. Even though they will reduce your Social Security check if you make over that amount, Social Security system has a way of giving it back to you. So when you get to 66, what they automatically do, in fact, they do this each year, they look back, and if they found that they were reducing your Social Security check over that period of time, they will actually index your monthly check upwards from then on, so that if you live long enough, you'll actually get all of those dollars that were reduced from your Social Security check early on. Not only that, if you continue working and you make enough money, that may increase your Social Security just because it's one of the years you made the largest amount of money.
Okay, great. I think this is our last poll question. Hope this isn't boring to you guys. He's supposed to keep this interesting. But which of the following is most important to you if you're going to select a financial advisor, for example? Which is most important? Is it trust? Is it getting a plan I understand? Is it getting someone who puts my interests first? Or perhaps is it all of these three? Or if one of them is more important to you, select that one. Let's see, we've got about half the people voted. Just going to do a few more seconds here. If you want to get in your vote. Okay. All right, last chance. There we go. All right, that's it. This is probably, let me share that. 100% of you said all three. So that's pretty interesting. Very interesting. Okay, moving right along. Let's talk about the bottom line, and then please hang on. We only have a few more minutes, so this isn't going to drag on for an hour or anything. Just a few more minutes. Let's talk about the bottom line. And again, we go back to our chart about how Terry's report. You want to talk about this, Terry?
Yes. Once again, I just want to emphasize how and when you file can make a huge difference in what you get over your lifetime as far as benefits are concerned. And so when you come in to have your Social Security maximization report done, we will enter your information, and when you leave, you're going to know what approximately you're going to get over your lifetime, depending when you file. You don't have to ask the guy down the hall or your next door neighbor. A lot of people, they get their information from people who have absolutely no knowledge of Social Security. But with this, you are going to be the smartest guy on the block when it comes to Social Security.
All righty. Actually, I don't have another poll question. Now, if you have any questions that you want to ask, we may have some time at the end. So if you do have any questions, you can feel free to put them into the chat box. We're going to talk about filling the income gap because most people can't just live on Social Security. In fact, you know, that's why you have all your savings and investments. So according to the SSA, 1 out of 3 of today's 65-year-olds are going to live to age 90, 1 out of 3. And that means that you need a plan to fill in your income gap for 25 to 30 years. And so that's a significant amount of time. I know because I've designed a lot of software to make all these calculations. We're going to get to that in a minute. Terry, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the factors affecting this income gap and whether you're going to run out of money or not in retirement. And here are a number of the factors, and we've already talked about some of them. Longevity, how long you're going to live, inflation, how much you spend during retirement. You can always have unusual expenses crop up, like medical expenses. Maybe you have some good things that happen, like an inheritance. Maybe you work a part-time job. Maybe you have life insurance proceeds if your spouse passes away. Of course, the types of investments you have, as well as the returns you get on those investments, whether they're volatile and they're in the market, whether they're guaranteed. Of course, your Social Security and all the decisions we're talking about in this webinar. And pensions. There's also a lot of issues related to pensions that we're not covering. And there's tons of other variables. These aren't the only ones. These are a lot of the major ones. I'm sure everybody on this call can think of other ones as well. But the bottom line is you need some software to calculate all of this. And that's what my company does. We have a program called Retirement View. Here's a little screenshot of it. And red means you're out of money. That's gap. That's that retirement income gap we're talking about. Blue is your Social Security. Yellow is a pension. So this is just a little sample plan. Let's go to the next slide. And I just show a bigger screenshot here, but it's time to look at a couple of examples. So Terry, while I'm pulling that up, how much more time do we have? We have 5 or 10 more minutes maybe?
Yeah, I believe we got 10 more minutes left.
Okay. So I have John and Mary. I try to put in something similar to our couple that we've been talking to, and actually I'll adjust a couple of these numbers. We said John was making about $30,000 in Social Security, and he had a pension of $14,400. And I'm going to click on Mary over here, and she had Social Security. Hers was more like $7,790, and she had a $6,000 pension. Okay, good. So I've already pre-built a little plan, and I just made up some job incomes and assumed they're going to retire, John at 66 and Mary in the same year. She'll be 62. And I put in some investments and some returns. And so what the program does, it projects all this out, and it determines, in this case, hey, at 77, they're going to run out of money. That's their investment money. Now, they're still going to get their Social Security and pensions, but they have a big retirement income gap there. And so the nice thing about this software is you can project all this out, see it all in one place. It's very understandable, and it's quite easy. And this is something that Terry can build on the fly for you in his office, and build one of these for you. Right, Terry?
Yes, I do it all the time, and it really helps people get a better understanding of where they're heading in retirement.
Okay, great. Do you want to see maybe one other secondary illustration? Do you have anything in mind that you want to see, or should I just show something else? Let's say that, let's give them a little more investments. I'm going to put in another $100,000 in here. And so they don't run out of money until 82. But let's say they have all their investments in the market. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to determine how much they have. And I know I'm clicking rather quickly here, but they have about $574,000 in total investments when they retire. So I'm going to say, hey, what happens if there's like a market drop? Okay, let's say there's a 20% market drop, so that would be about $100,000. Let's say it occurs 2 years after they retire at age 68. All right, put that in. So they lost that. Now they run out of money at 78. So it's just a very simple exercise there, nothing too complicated. This doesn't do any big simulations or anything. The idea is it can show simple visual planning. Maybe you have an inheritance. Maybe you have an aunt that's going to leave you some money or something. Let's say you're going to get an inheritance of $250,000, or maybe you're going to downsize your home. I don't know. Let's say at age 72, you come into this inheritance, and so now their money lasts till 88. 88 for John, and Mary's 84. So that helped the picture. So the big value of the software is trading off good decisions that help the picture versus not so good decisions that hurt the picture and create more red and more of an income gap. So that's mainly what it's for. Any questions about that? Okay. All's quiet on the question front. Okay, so let's go back to our slideshow. Okay, I don't know why I have a slide for a poll question because I don't have any more poll questions. But just in general, planning for a safe retirement, planning for a secure retirement, doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor or middle class or wherever, the foundation for a safe and secure retirement is, first of all, planning ahead, as well as planning during retirement, just planning in general, making smart decisions that are informed, and also having reliable income sources. That can be a big key as well that can very much help you. So maximizing your Social Security is definitely something that falls under this purview. Now, Terry, you've mentioned a couple of times that people can come meet with you. You want to talk about some of the benefits to them meeting with you, if they want to? It's all voluntary.
Yeah, if someone decides they want to come in and meet with me, once again, I want to emphasize there's no charge for this, and whether they decide to do business with me in the future is totally up to them. I just want to give this benefit to them. And the first benefit you're going to get is you're going to learn how and when to maximize your own lifetime benefits from Social Security. Also, at no charge, I'll do a financial plan that you understand. You won't be guessing anymore. You have a plan you understand, and you have the peace of mind of knowing that you have a plan that you understand in place. You won't be worrying about what if I do this, what if I do that. You'll know ahead of time. And once again, you're going to have the peace of mind of having a realistic plan in place. And hopefully you won't have to worry about planning for the future again, and you can spend more time enjoying the things you'd like to do rather than worrying about money.
Okay, so those are some of the main benefits. And you could talk about some of the things that you're going to do and things that you're going to give them.
Sure. First of all, of course, and this is the most important thing that we're talking about tonight, is to get that Social Security maximization consultation. And I know I've skipped over some of these things pretty lightly tonight. I'll give you a fuller explanation and answer your questions when you get in the office so you have a better understanding. And of course, when you leave, you're going to get a printed Social Security maximization report. And as Tim just showed you, we're also going to do a retirement view income gap analysis to determine if and when you might run out of money in retirement. And then, of course, we'll print that report up for you. And the report includes all your assets. It shows you how much money is coming out of your account. And for those of you who know about minimum required distributions, when you get 70.5, it'll actually show you how much money the government forces you to take out when you hit 70.5. And, of course, being a certified financial planner, I will give you my professional recommendations on how to maximize your retirement income and minimize your risks of running out of money.
I want to say something here real quick. Working at Torrid Technologies, I've talked to hundreds, if not thousands, of financial advisors, and I've also talked to consumers that use our software, people that don't have financial advisors. And one thing that I know is that you don't know what you don't know. It's just like anything in life. You really need a professional's help. You really don't know the things that you don't know. And with someone like Terry, who's a certified financial planner, he can probably help you. And so just give it a shot. If you have any questions or anything that you have questions about on this webinar or about Social Security or your retirement, I really recommend that you meet with a professional. It's going to save you thousands and help you in retirement. So I just wanted to throw that in there. If you want to schedule a consultation, I'm going to speak for Terry here and say that you can call his assistant, Joy. Here are the two phone numbers, and we'll email this out afterwards as well. And then you can also, if say right now you want to go ahead and get something scheduled, this is kind of an annoying web address, and I apologize for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pause the PowerPoint and just copy this thing and paste it into the chat box. So if you want to go ahead and click on that, it's a hyperlink. It just goes out onto the internet, and you can click on that and sign up. And there's, I know Terry is busy. He's been doing a bunch of seminars related to this and this webinar. So if you want to meet with him, feel free to talk with him about that. By the way, he's in Houston, in case you guys didn't know that. I'm in Atlanta, but he's in Houston. So Terry, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, that's really it. By the way, if you look at the picture there, my office is in 340. We're just about half a mile east of I-45. It's accessible for most parts of town, and it's easy to find. And I want to really thank everybody for taking the time out to be on this webinar tonight, because I know it's Thursday night and you probably have a lot of other things you could be doing. I appreciate you being on the webinar. And just remember this, the decisions you make today will determine how you live tomorrow. And thanks, everyone, for being on the webinar tonight.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it, Terry. It was good stuff, and hope everyone learned something. So we're going to sign off. This is Tim Turner from Torrid Technologies signing off. Thanks, and have a good evening.